Welcome back. It's time for our final series of the night. It is going to be between L5 and BlossoM. It'll be the final series of the weekend here for HGC Korea as well.
Yep, and I think L5 in this meta, they had lots of flexibility from the beginning, and now they are fitting in, especially after the Eastern Clash. Their practice really showed off in the big stage, and the moment they came back to Korea, they started practicing again, and their teamwork seems very promising, and I'm excited already for. We keep on mentioning this because this can change the top first spot. The MVP Black versus L5 will be happening in just 2 weeks, and this match tonight against BlossoM should show a good hint against how strong they are against, because we just saw MVP Black playing last night against a weaker team.
It's definitely true. L5, I think, has really stepped up their drafting as well. They tricked the teams on Sky Temple that ran the Zarya. They have also, I think, really gotten around to understanding Hooligan's play style, and so Hooligan is doing really well. And we're talking about, has he even rivaled Noblesse? I don't think we can make that assessment until after BlizzCon, but he's definitely really getting close. And you know, with a new promising tank player stepping into the shoes of Noblesse, I think it brings hope to Korea in terms of international events going forward. And you know, this team as a whole definitely was hurting after losing Nitrogen, after losing Noblesse. SDE is looking really solid right now, and so is Hooligan. So look out for this team. They are definitely the favorites going into this series, more so than Mighty was even going against RRR. So I think we can take this series. I think the best way to look at it is a learning experience for both teams. And how will this evolution of the 2-2-1 meta, the 2 tanks, 2 healers, 1 carry meta evolve with this team? And will we see more Sonya? Because that's, I think, the thing that most people are excited about right now in the solo lane.
Well, let's see. Jung has been picking even the Yorick sometimes, and his solo lane on top. Last year, he was often dying off screen, and we were just screaming Jungha again, Jungha lol all the time. But now, he's so solid. He never dies, and he doesn't push too far like how Rich does, but he's very solid. He plays the average. When the team needs, he comes at the perfect timing and does his role. And I think he's going to make a lot of the differences in the other side, because the other side, other 4 always does their job for L5. And I think with those 5, it completes the team.
Well, this is L5. They need little introduction. 2-time back-to-back world champions. A team that's roster has evolved throughout this year. And this guy right here, he told people to drop the bits. They've been dropping them since since the end of that finals, and his tank play has been incredible. I wonder if they'll list him as key player, because I probably would at this stage. This team has come together around the shot calling of Jungha, SC, and SDE all together. And it feels like every week I hear a different player is shot calling, but it doesn't matter because the calls are quick, they're concise, and they are executed. There's no indecision with this team. They move very quickly from objective to objective. They punish mistakes. That was the thing that everyone said about Ballistics when this team was named that. It was actually Jungha listed as the sole laner as the key player. But it was actually Ballistics that everyone said was the best at not rotations, but punishing mistakes. They played so safe, they played so careful. They punished mistakes. I feel like L5 has upgraded all aspects of that game, and they can't really point them in one direction as this is a safe team, this is a rotational team, this is a team fight team. They do all those things very well.
And I think they especially excel at rotations when they have the chance, especially when they have globals, especially when Jungha is on that Dehaka pushing the lane and joining the team fight. He's been keeping the balance for the team, and the other 4, of course, doing their job is perfectly. And you said they're switching the shot calls and drafting a little bit. Last time it was SCSE was drafting. Usually SDE is the one that drafts, but
and back at BlizzCon it was Jungha, so you know it's always changing.
Jungha's still doing the shot calling, but they have a different style of approaching, I guess. They can just change from time to time whenever they feel like it. It's a different thing, but it's working, so it's a good thing for them.
They're the massive favorites tonight. They want to take 3 points. They want to keep pushing towards hoping Black makes a mistake and they take that first place spot. It's not in their control. They have to win every series, and Black has to drop a series in order for that to happen. They're trying. BlossoM making some waves throughout the beginning of Part 2, but surprisingly dropped the series to MVP Miracle. That was a big shock to most, as Miracle did make some position swaps. They put Crazy Moving onto the tank, and that actually ended up destroying this team when they faced off against each other on Friday. So how this plays out, or actually it was just yesterday, how this plays out for BlossoM, I think, is really up to them. They have to recover from the loss from yesterday, and they need to make sure that in draft, even though Wiz's shot calling has been really good, they draft around the solo lane, I think, that other teams have neglected. We saw it happen to RRR in the previous series this evening. It's hard to win a lane against Jungha, but if you put him on to even, then at least you've done your job, I'd say, at this stage.
Yep, and key player is Mora here, but I want to focus a little bit on what they did yesterday when they got 0-3 against Miracle. All 3 times they were relying on hyper carry, single DPS, double tank, double support, and it did not work. I think this is the only team that does not really fit into double support, double tank. I think they need a double DPS solid times, and oftentimes Wiz doing the job is not enough. Sometimes Mora can flex into something else, and Medi was a niche pick for them. And in this meta, I think they're trying too hard to follow other teams when they can actually show their own color. I think that if they can find their own color in the drafting tonight, I think they can do so much better compared to yesterday.
Yeah, maybe BlossoM's approach shouldn't be to perfect this meta, but actually to counter it. That's always a thing that smart teams will do when they know that they're mechanically behind. It will be BlossoM's map pick of Towers of Doom here.
Just like yesterday, 2 for 2. Game number 1, Towers of Doom, coming out from BlossoM. And even when they picked it yesterday, their rotational decisions, they were late. Of course, game 1 was close against Miracle, and Miracle had lots of other tools to actually secure the boss, the camps at the end of the game, and it was a close game for sure, but they did lose. Let's see if they can have a better drafting in. And I heard that draft did not go well in game number 1 from yesterday. Maybe they can make a better approach this time against L5.
All right, so heading into it, remember L5 will have first pick, so that's always a scary thing to face off against in this matchup, because L5's drafting has been really intelligent, especially here in Phase 2. Now, will they draft into this style that became popular this week, especially was shown yesterday, the tank solo laner with the 2-2-2. Ariel is banned already.
That's a scary thing for BlossoM. If you ignore rotations, L5 will punish you hard, because they were the first team to be known as a big macro team since 2000. Since the team formed, actually, there's an instant pick on Genji. Not like the first match. If you leave Genji open like that, they will just take it.
I meant to say 2-2-1 earlier, but yeah. If you leave them Genji, they will take it, but the questioning thing, though, is that other teams are not right now. This looks like a Grey Main Uther, yeah. Other teams are not taking the Genji first pick right now, though. And the teams that are have been failing as his win rate plummets right now. And
let's see how L5 approaches. I think when Grey Main Uther is taken from the other side, of course, they want to fight. And L5, they were like the first team who did not fight at all. They were playing dirty. Okay, with Tyrael Rehgar, I can see that they want to go for a lot more camping, but they can also have lots of fighting tool. And this is the thing. BlossoM lost Tyrael against Miracle yesterday, and it really cost it big with the Holy Ground. The Sanctifications were there all the time.
Yeah, I feel like L5 wants this for their own reasons, but they also want to deny this. And it felt like the obvious ban for them, but because they took it instead, I'm wondering what their melee is going to be. Or will it be the solo tank Tyrael with like an Illidan? Because we're still waiting on Jungha's hero right now. So BlossoM has to keep that pick in mind. The Illidan that's so strong here with the hunt, with the split pushing potential, the ability to grab bell towers. It's hard to make the call to say, you know what, they've got Rehgar Tyrael, I should probably ban the Illidan because it's such a niche pick, but L5 will do it.
So why don't you just go around and try to ban out a support or a tank? I think that's a better approach.
We'll ban the Arthas.
Seems like BlossoM wants to take Illidan. It's a hint coming out. Avatar ban coming out from L5. Maybe even knowing Illidan may come out, they have a strong answer, which is Sanctification and Ancestral available.
If they run Illidan, they have to run Karazim. Maybe they could make the Lucio pick work with the sound barrier. Feels like a big risk, though. Talking about BlossoM, of course. The Arthas ban is strong against Greymane as well. It's a strong solo ban or a solo laner band, but it also means that, you know, they don't have the slows and the roots to, you know, weaken Greymane as a hero, his mobility, and his damage output. But it's very powerful. The ban is very powerful if you want to run the Illidan. I just don't know if this is really reasonable. We also don't know what Gondar will be playing in this composition yet either. ETC, one of his better heroes, but not a draft where they should run it yet. Maybe even the Anub'arak is good here. Will be Dahaka for the soul lane. And that's Karazim. So no Illidan possible with this comp anymore.
Is it going to be again Greymane hyper carry when they picked Dahaka yesterday with a double support? Wiz was the one playing on Dahaka and Gondar played ETC more than Garrosh. That was the only option. Did they change it overnight? We'll have to wait until the 5th pick. L5, they do have to show their remaining picks, possibly, and I think very likely grabbing another DPS. Genji alone will not be enough to get those resets.
No, they definitely need another. Genji can't hyper carry in this meta anymore. You need a second hero to do that. Li Ming, a possibility. Not very terrible here, very good for delaying the altars. Was used here specifically at the beginning of Phase 1 a lot. And of course, they're going to need Jung's hero as well. Illidan's still a possibility. Sonya and Li Ming. So Sonya again going to be the soul laner. Li Ming, the mage we were talking about. So that's going to be SDE's pick. This is a very strong draft for L5. Sonya, if played correctly from what we've seen so far, can dominate against Dahaka. Make it so that his global potential is basically 0. It's going to cost them bell towers. And Sonya is much less all-in than Illidan. Sonya has more sustain, can live longer in fights, is much tankier. Illidan is very all-in, but Sonya is very careful, very calculated. Solid wave clear in the top lane. Can crush the top lane. And now for BlossoM, will we just see the... Normally with this team, when they run the hyper carry Greymane, they just pick a standard tank like a Muradin. The ETC was also one that they ran before. Would not be shocked if Gondar just gets put onto the Muradin here.
This is a tough call because Sonya will be satisfied and happy if she just trades one. Once they get a kill, Li Ming and Genji, they will both get resets. And L5, I think Sanctification is all they need. Ancestral Healing for the extra protection on Sonya. Maybe Genji, Li Ming, but haven't seen Li Ming for a while. That's a lot of reset potential damage. But is BlossoM going to sustain against all that damage coming in? It's a good question. I think it's possible, but Greymane will not be doing as much damage as L5 for sure.
The Stitches pick here is going to be very limited in terms of success. Really the only heroes they can grab are Rhaegar, maybe Li Ming. Sonya will be happy to be grabbed, and I don't know if this tank is going to be enough. It's one of Gondar's best, though. He's sticking with the comfort pick here as we head into game number 1. Let's see if BlossoM can pull it off here as we head into Towers of Doom. L5, Hooligan on Tyrael, SC on Genji, Jungha on Sonya, STE on Li Ming, and Swoi on Rhaegar.
전투 시작까지 10초 남았다.
And in red, BlossoM, who is on Dahaka, Gondar on Stitches, Mora on Karazim, Tutu on Greymane, and No Chat on Uther. If they get a good hook along with a drag from Dahaka, Karazim and Greymane's damage may be enough to take out Rhaegar and Sonya, but Li Ming, Genji, Tyrael, 3 out of 5 has a good escape. And once Sonya hits later levels at 13, she can also escape too.
So big key point, was watching it the entire time. The level 1 was question mark for Dudu for so long, but he ended up going into the Wolf Heart at level 1. So he's heading down the Honkono build. Realize we should be calling it the Dami build, but I suppose Honkono's become more famous for it recently. Looks to be the plan of action here, is to be able to go for the throat resets onto the squishies of Li Ming, onto the squishies of Genji, and sometimes Stitches can empower those with hooks. Sometimes a good hook will just give you another Wizen Duelist stack. And also, let's pay close attention to the top lane, because it's now 2-0 for Sonya in this matchup since we've started. Rich winning his, and then just earlier we had Mighty defeating Kong up there on the top lane with BDG.
Even with the armor, seems like he's having a tough time escaping. Ooh, missiles were close.
Ooh, nice grab here.
But the deflect is there, and SC takes no damage from that hook.
So, looks like everyone's been practicing some Sonya, and it doesn't look like this is going to be a matchup that Dahaka is winning anytime soon. Wiz is famous for his top laning, especially his Thrall back in the day, but Thrall is the winning matchup against Sonya. Dahaka might have been for a while, but not right now, and it is certainly a losing battle up there. They're going to actually go for the invade here. They fail to get it.
Yeah, Mora goes in a tiny second late.
One Pumpkin Man's isolated from the pack. He's like, oh, kill my buddies.
And when you commit that much, all 5 men into something and gets nothing, you lose the XP. And Sonya pushed an extra wave, and it'll be more than an extra wave on top if BlossoM does not do anything about it.
Okay, Swoy's going to get this channel. They're going to invade here. SC is trying to buy time. Sonya's coming over. This could be the triple, the rare triple. Do they get it? I think they are going to get it. This is already a 1 trade here. SC comes in. Mora is sticking around. They do get the tongue wrap here, though, onto Jungha. He's going to go down. First blood will go to BlossoM, but will they be able to take this? That's the big question. Late rotation coming up from Greymane right now.
Dude, no chat onto dangerous positioning, actually, by himself. But Gondar and Dudu comes in time. Seems like they'll just give up the last one. They're satisfied with just taking 2 altars.
Almost got all 3. Very close call, but overextension by L5 to be greedy enough to take those, not respecting BlossoM there in the 2v2 where they had less health. So Eyes in the Dark is going to be the next transition here. So we are headed full Dami with this Greymane build. And so will this work out? Will they be able to get the kills necessary to make this worth it? So far they've only gotten 1. It won't matter until that Wizen Duelist is locked in how many picks they get. This is still a pretty reasonable position for BlossoM to be heading down. The Slam build coming out. This is totally designed to be the carry Greymane. This Stitch is empowering that position. Ooh, missed tongue grab. That is certainly how you lose this lane matchup.
Meanwhile, Rega was taking the camp at the top, so the Sappers will do a lot more, take down all the towers now.
So annoying to deal with. You're struggling in this top matchup already, and the steal comes in from the Rhaegar. Jungha doesn't even have to help. BlossoM is going to invade to try to make this kind of like a 1-for-1 in terms of camps. And they will get it.
This will fill in the late rotation they did in the beginning of the game. If they get a pick on the Hooligan, that'll be even better, but there's Druid's away for safety.
Okay, Sonya's actually taking up mid now. He's going to leave Wiz in the top lane for now. We'll rotate up in a moment. In fact, we'll rotate up now after clearing the wave. Because she's winning this lane so hard, even with the wave against her, she'll be fine to crush this and then head down. Wiz is already showing respect. Not entirely sure what happened here.
Seems like Mora went all the way in with the dash, and SC took tons of damage from Kerosene. Hook does not land on the Swoy. If it landed, it could have been a kill.
The hooks have not really been connecting this game. Wouldn't put the blame on the Gondar for this one, though. Would definitely put the, I don't know, the anti-blame. I would put the skill of L5 is dodging these hooks. Okay, Dudu does get interrupted here. STE will channel the top one. Not here to interrupt, so it's really just Genji who's using his hyper mobility and his shurikens to interrupt. We'll be able to toss out another wave here.
Sonya was winning the top lane and already coming down. Dahaka has to get an extra wave and then come down later when the shot calling is there.
Definitely will come down, has to come down. Is he coming down now? It looks like it. Yep, he's come down. Coming and looking for the hook, does get it onto Tyrael, however, though. SC it gets the interrupt yet again onto Dudu. Hooligan is very low. I think this is a lost fight for L5, with Sonya committing so heavily into the mid lane. They can't win this 5v4 anymore. They should let this go. Trade their losses, take the win here in the mid lane, and try to parlay that into a level 10.
That's exactly what they were looking for. They were just delaying time. Seems like they weren't even really going for the altar. SCSC was just delaying, canceling all the channeling. Meanwhile, Sonya was going all the way into the wall. Sonya alone, Jungha took down the wall on top and mid, and they hit 10.
Yeah, even the fort, or the bell tower, technically on this map, has taken quite a bit of damage in the mid lane. So they have 10, and they're just working towards eventually gaining a bell tower advantage. They already had the core advantage, and they still do, so trading even keeps them ahead on core, but the objectives that they were able to gain in terms of those walls for the bell towers you were talking about are going to be so much more valuable. And now with level 10, they're going to use this to grab 4 shots anyways from this boss. And so it ends up being their win at the end of the day regardless. And the scary thing is once they get that first bell tower, this game may just simply fall away from BlossoM as they will really struggle to recover. Look at how much heals you get. Wrath of the Berserker, pretty good.
Tyrael was holding in for a while. It is Sanctification at the end of the day. I feel like Judgment, if committed with Leap from Sonya, could have been enough to just grab Greymane because there's no palm on the other side. But after seeing the Divine Shield from Luther, it's locked in Sanct right after. There's Forge from Gondar.
This looks familiar, but this time, this time they're actually going to counter it. There's the Gorge, 7-sided as well. The second time they stole the cap, they were unable to defend. This time, L5 wanted to get the bell tower with the cap coming in from Rhaegar, but BlossoM committed heavily on the response. Do get the pick and save that bell tower, making the cap essentially worthless.
Hooligan could have went in and used the Sanctification if Swoi made the right turn to the bottom. I think they just gave up on having Swoi coming back because the respawn time is not too long.
Well, now we're going to see Jungha rotate in. This is going to be a 5v5 fight once Rhaegar gets over. He's got Wolf Run. We'll be here very soon. Daka's going to try to clear mid before this happens. Heavy commitment in from Jungha, actually. Even the Wrath of the Berserker. The Poison Spear connects here. Sanctification going to give them a great zone to fight on. Rhaegar is almost here. Swoi tosses out the heals. Great trades. SDE's at full health. And he is just launching missiles.
Yep, soon because of the double support, BlossoM is back to full health, and Jungha now needs to do so much more damage. Great Divine Shield timing. Ancestral does connect onto SDE, but they need kills though. They need kills, they need resets. They're close to it.
Okay, Jungha here doing as much as he can to get those heals. The cocktails connect. He lives, so does Hooligan. And they are surviving here. SDE at full health. The tank line in full effect here. Hooligan gets the channel at, what, 1% health, while SDE is just pushing them back. Jungha's going to heal back up using Whirlwind.
He's already here. Wow.
And I want to point something out, too. You know, we were talking about how the comp of BlossoM was supposed to protect Greymane. And I was surprised at how little he was diving in some of these fights. And then I looked back up and realized he didn't take Wisdom Duelist. He took Human Range. So he's trying to outpoke Jungha. He's trying to outpoke the dive comp here with the Sonya, the Genji. But it doesn't give him any space to work with. It doesn't give him any pressure when it comes to Li Ming. So SDE is able to do all these fights without taking a single scratch. That's why he's at full health every time. That and dominance when they start to get the resets. This is a risky proposition for Wiz, trying to contest this. Oh, this is probably going to be the end of him.
Oh, SCSC comes in. There's no adaptation available for Wiz, that's the reason. And isolation taken, of course, against Genji. It's never a wrong choice, but if you're overextending like that, when you don't know the rotations coming out from the enemy team, you can get punished just like that.
Whenever you see L5 on a cap, and when you go in, they stay there, and you don't have vision, you better realize at that moment you are not supposed to be there and leave.
Yes.
And that is, I think, what they realized a little bit too late in that fight. So now Bell Tower's down. Mid Bell Tower.
And the second one should be down soon, too.
Top one's going to get taken out here, so 2 Bell Towers. They're going to go for the triple. Look at this. Look at the mini-map.
Wow.
They get the Sapper cap.
They need kills here. There's the isolation onto Rhaegar. Great grab. 7-sided hits
Sway gets the heal.
Sway survives.
And the slow. Dodges the skill shots. Gets the dash out. This is going to be a 6 bell tower game at 10 minutes and 40 seconds. 6 bell towers, full shots fired. This is GG, ladies and gentlemen. You do not recover from this. It has never happened, I think, in the history of competitive. It's definitely not happened in Korea. I think this is the second recorded game in Korean HGC history since the map's released that we had 6 bell towers taken. No one ever comes back from this one. I mean, it doesn't get much more behind than this if you're BlossoM.
Oh my. They needed kills, at least. They were behind enough already. How L5 distribute their resources, it's just at a perfect level, and their rotation is amazing. And BlossoM, they responded okay, but some of the skill shots, what they intend to do did not work out, and so far it's not working out. But these
Gorge into the kill
can
zone.
be a start.
Jungha still gets out here, uses Ignore Pain, and will just walk back through.
Hooliga doesn't even drop the Sang. Now he will drop the Sang along with the Ancestral. Now they're turning this man. They want the kill. They want this bell tower down along with it. Tyrael does go down.
Tyrael does go down here, actually. That was a pretty sloppy fight. They were destined to be behind, but look at this. They need to get over here and deal with this Sapper Cap. Is going to be the Holy Fire that helps Uther do this. This is going to be still with all the pressure. This is why I say the game is GG when you lose all 6, is you will never be able to have map control. You will always have to be dealing with a bell tower deficit while other objectives are taken. And even a man down, L5 was confident enough to start the boss. Quick rotation comes in from BlossoM, though. They deny the boss. They will defend the Sapper Cap at bot. And now they have to deal with this final altar. And it looks like they will somehow, some way be able to stabilize, retake their altars. And we'll go back to 4-4.
Soy.
But they're losing objectives.
There.
Yes. They're losing objectives at the same time. Because of all these things they had to deal with in the bot lane, L5 was almost able to get the boss. And had they known Dahaka had actually just brush talked down, they would have committed to the boss and taken it. But now they get this bell tower with this Sapper Camp. BlossoM again needs kills. As you said last time, they need to make this fight theirs. And I don't think it's going to happen.
It gets very low. Without Greymane, no damage. Kerosene can do some damage, and it's going to Leeming, but he will fall down before. And SD is still surviving with Dominance coming back with the HP, and this bell tower is theirs. The last one remaining here as Jungha is just solo diving into here.
Jungha is going to just heal himself up, though.
Oh, yes, he comes from the side while Genji appears once more. Does not find the kill, though.
Wanted to hook onto Jungha, failed to get it. This bell tower will go down to mirror balled shots. This is going to be 5 shots here, and now they're going to look for the invade to finish it.
Yep, this is
That's
GG
it.
with SCSC channeling the last one. First
they
game.
almost put the core into negative health with the triple channel. That is going to be the end of this game. The most one-sided Towers of Doom map we have seen in a while. And remember, this is the second time, at least as I can remember, I don't think there was ever a third time that I'm missing, that 6 bell towers were taken in Korean Heroes. Then they were taken at 10 minutes.
It's rough. When you start to lose a bell tower, and it starts to become a merry-go-round, and you take one back, but the other team is on to the other side, taking the other. So you need to punish them for making those rotations. But if you cannot get those kills, you saw the comeback when they got the kill onto Tyrael. L5 had to be back when they had to deal with the other things, but they also pressured the boss, so make sure L5 could not boss at the same time. That was a good comeback, but when you start to lose your resources, when you use everything to find your way to come back, but once you do that right after, L5 will punish you because they know that you used everything to stop that from happening.
Yeah. Well, you have now the choice to pick first ban. I think you take it. They took the map Towers of Doom. That was their map choice. L5 will dictate the maps. Very likely we head to Sky Temple for the second game, the map where we saw Zarya. So I think for BlossoM, they're probably thinking about that draft now that L5's already used and how well it worked. Miracle then adapted the draft. They failed to get the success with that draft. So BlossoM's already dealt with this directly against Miracle. Will we see it again? I'm really curious because it's now, you know, I think 2 for 2 since it came out for Sky Temple, so half the games have had that draft. And we are going to it, so no surprise, L5